Welcome back to my channel. Today we are discussing want to be a work from home high performer, 8 ways to impress your boss remotely. So it starts with you were a high performer at work, but the new work from home setup denies you the vital face time with your manager and team that was essential to get information, share instant updates, demonstrate your work ethic, and be recognized for your consistency. While you miss this critical part of your professional toolbox, here's how you can compensate for the loss and earn your dues. We want to start with clock comfort. While you work towards your growth, consider how you can contribute to your manager's success. Put yourself in your manager's shoes. Your boss has his or her work cut out with the additional hurdle of getting a remote team to function and succeed together. How can you make their life easier? As a first step, offer predictability. Start with office timings. Follow the regular office calendar and clock for work hours as well as meal breaks. Your consistency and availability makes you a reliable colleague and keeps trust level high. I totally agree with that. You definitely want to adhere to your schedules and be where you are expected to be. I also make a habit of replying promptly, and if I'm unable to reply in what I deem as a prompt manner, then I always offer an explanation of where I was at that time to hinder me from being able to reply promptly. So clock comfort is definitely a great way to impress your boss remotely. The second tip that they're giving is master meetings. The individual and team meetings have now become the lifeline for your colleagues to get stuff done and for your boss to manage the team. Treat them with due seriousness. Be the first to join a meeting ahead of time. You get a few extra minutes with others who join early. Know that your manager probably has a packed schedule and limited time for the meeting. As a top-notch professional, you know the meeting agenda and you are fully prepared to contribute and not be a drag on the meetings. If you have called for the meeting, you are responsible for achieving the goals and closing the meeting on time. It says assert yourself and control the discussion accordingly. In external meetings with clients and vendors, know that you too are representing your company and don't expect your manager to carry that burden alone. Definitely, you want to master meetings. You want to be prepared. You want to show up, and you also want to make sure that you're contributing. As I've mentioned in previous meetings, most of the times my contribution is actually taking the notes, as well as I'd like to contribute by typing in the chats versus coming off of mute, but that's my comfort level, right? So you do what it is that that is comfortable for you, right, in mastering those meetings, okay? The third tip they have is video veteran. Choose a video meeting over a voice call or group chat, whether you have a discussion with your manager or colleague. You gain a ton of information and context from the tone and body language that helps you take better decisions. The chances of miscommunication are lower and you're less likely to make mistakes. Though you have the option to attend the video call wearing your shorts, choose to dress formally as you would in an office meeting. Thus, you constantly strengthen both your attitude and your image of a high-performing professional. Did you receive a critical chat late because your internet failed or missed a call because your phone was on silent? Ensure that you always have the technology you need and can access your employer's communication without fail. Always answer your phone. That unknown number might be a client with an urgent problem. Whose next call might be to your boss. Check in with office chat messages, emails at regular intervals. I'm sorry, I just read accessible and available. So I'm going to jump back to video veteran. I know you heard me as far as being accessible and available, but we're going to jump to that. So number one, you want to choose, they're advising to choose video over voice call or group chat, right? The reason is because it actually lowers the opportunity for miscommunication because the person can see you, your tone, as well as your body language. That actually adds a component to make sure that there is less room for miscommunication. So I totally agree with that. I think that's a great idea. But in addition to that, they said accessible and available. And that goes back to what I had mentioned before, as far as making sure that we are where we should be, replying and answering in replying and answering in a reasonable amount of time, answering those unknown numbers, texts from numbers you don't know, because it's most likely something related to work. So yes, I definitely agree with that. So that was actually, let's see. That was 3 is be a video veteran, and 4 accessible and available. So tip number 5 is beyond your brief. It says to be recognized as an outstanding contributor, go beyond expectations. Know that in a remote working environment, only outcomes are seen. Thus, only results matter, and the process and hours you put in are not as critical as in office. Hence, show up with your best work in work from home. Deliver before deadlines, pick up projects that are important for your manager, even if they are beyond your job description. Can you help your colleagues deliver outcomes and establish positive working relationships with them? Your approach makes you invaluable to your team and manager. 100% agree with this. I've talked about this across multiple videos. You want to make sure that you are a key team player. I always set expectations based on my peers rather than what I do, and therefore I'm always beating deadlines that I set for myself. Also, I am there to assist my colleagues, my boss. I'm a great team player. Well, I don't know why I'm talking about myself. You want to be a great team player. You want to be a great team player when you are working from home, because that will put you in line for promotions. It will make you visible, and it will cause your peers and your all those working under you to echo your accomplishments. Okay, so you want to go beyond your brief. You want to. It mentions here to go beyond your job description. I say tread lightly there. You don't want to take on too many people's work. I prefer to be a team player and assist those whose actual function it is, rather than taking it over. Okay. All right. So the next tip is to communicate with context. The best antidote to lack of face time is over communication. Firstly, make sure that you have at least one conversation with your boss every week for inputs, updates, and expectation matching. Secondly, take initiative to share relevant information with everyone and post required updates on emails, calls, or chats. Plan discussions in advance and add with content each time. Imagine the questions that may be asked and have answers ready. Focus on achieving business priorities and not just updating statuses. Finally, respect others and avoid emotional and controversial discussions on politics, religion, etc. Absolutely. I'm a champion for over communication. I do like how they mention that you want to also stay focused and stay professional. I do absolutely 100% avoid personal context of anything with not anything. I mean, there's like very little personal context that I will discuss with my boss, only because your boss is not your friend, right? Your boss is your co-worker, and that relationship is a professional relationship, right? And so I never want to put myself in a position where I have to be concerned about personal information that my boss knows and feel like it can possibly embarrass me or hold me back from a promotion in the future, right? And so I never want my reputation to be marred or misinterpreted, because again, we are working from home and your boss's boss cannot see you. They only see the communication that you are having within the confinements of your work. The next tip that the author shares is ownership to trust. The trust that your employer or boss has in you, the trust that your employer or boss has in you is the best predictor of recognition, appraisals, and promotions. The best way to earn and foster that trust is to demonstrate ownership. Own your role, your outcomes, your team's success, and your employer's goals. When you own a task or role, then you prioritize time for deadlines, ignore your tendency to procrastinate, think through what could go wrong, and are proactive in taking initiatives, solving problems, and coming up with new ideas. practice. You also increase trust when you own up to your own mistakes immediately and show that you have learned from them. Absolutely. Ownership is key. Right? We want to create solutions, not create problems. And therefore, when problems occur, we automatically have a resolution available as a suggestion for your boss to take advantage of. That shows that you have learned from your mistake, also shows that you're thinking about the bigger picture, and also shows that you are interested in protecting the company and their bottom line and their goal and their mission and vision. So I definitely like this tip of ownership is definitely a clear and direct way to it's a clear and direct path to promotion is taking ownership and admitting mistakes, because we are all human. Okay. And then the last tip that they mentioned for you to impress your boss remotely is to when your boss is new, if your manager is new, get the relationship started from a place of respect and trust. Help them learn the ropes when they ask, but don't assume the role of a mentor, right? So if you have any complaints against your previous boss, don't share them and cast yourself in a poor light. Equally unprofessional is if you take on the mantle of a political leader and decide to be the voice for your team's problems. Instead, figure out how you can help them settle down and succeed. 100%. I'm not an advocate of complaining, and the complaints are also recorded. So you took the time to type that out. Manifestation, no, right? So you have to find a positive way to express maybe negative views or things that you think are needed for change. If the boss is new, I would say just give them an opportunity to kind of dig around. If they push you for an answer, I would support that with facts rather than with opinion of what you feel, because it can make you come off really biased. And so you want to make sure that you are definitely being a team player, that you are respecting your new boss as well as their the entire team. You definitely don't want to be the voice of negativity, and especially not in writing. That is definitely going to hinder you, because remember, again, we're working from home. Everything is monitored. Everything is recorded. Your boss's boss can take the time to review the things that you are discussing. So you want to be very mindful of how you interact. And so it says new remote job question. So 1, insert your intro. When you have joined a new job remotely and have never met your colleagues physically, it can take longer to feel a part of the team. Speed up the process and help people remember you by introducing yourself when you speak. Start calls with hello, I am, and they use the name Amy, and have just joined the sales team. How are you? Can I get advice on? Okay. And then it says number 2, help in history. The faster you know how people are talking about, the faster you know what people are talking about in a project or meeting, the earlier you will be able to contribute. Quickly get up to speed by going through the history of email threads you have been copied on and scrolling through group chat conversations on your office chat application. 100% agree with that. As I've mentioned that when I got my work from home position, one of those promotions required me to understand the entire function of the organization. And so I definitely did spend nights staying up to the wee hours of the morning, reading through every single piece of information that I could get my hands on from the client's perspective, in addition to what I already understood about the job, because I had moved up, in steps. Okay. So number 3, mental map at office. Multiple conversations and sources help you rapidly learn about your workplace, people, and projects. And work from home, the repetition is missing. So use a notebook and pen to note every new nugget of information you come across. Build a mental map of your work and get your questions answered when you get a chance. 100% agree with that. Always be willing to, always feel free to ask questions, right? And I would ask multiple people questions in order to understand and make sure that you're getting different viewpoints of how things are being resolved, in order to make that mental map clear as day for yourself, right? Because the sooner that you understand how everything works, like I mentioned, the sooner you'll be able to make a contribution and you can start seeing the bigger picture, right? And then you can start plugging in the skills that you already know about yourself as far as how you can assist the company and advance the company's vision. Okay. Number 4, know your colleague. Your output is higher and your stress lower when you connect and bond with your team. At office, you spent time with them over lunch, coffee, and or at the water cooler. While working remotely, make the extra effort to start and join non-work conversations before and after meetings, group social meets, and or a scheduled virtual coffee. I 100% believe in connecting with people across different parts of the organization. As it gets higher up, I might limit that connection to only outline, like they said, coffee meetings. I'll make sure I'm at different meetings so that I am still interacting with those higher ups without violating a professional relationship. But yeah, you want to be mindful of making sure you're connecting with people. I've mentioned in my previous videos how if a member of my team or another person's team, any colleague or those beneath me, if they say something to me that they're experiencing in their personal life, I will absolutely 100% follow up with them in a DM or a private chat or an email to inquire with the status of how they're feeling. Sometimes I just pop in and say good morning across another team, just to kind of spread some sunshine and make myself available as a positive problem solver that anyone can call on regardless of what their level is within our organization. Okay. And so then the last tip that is mentioned by the author is customized channels. Your communication channel with your colleagues include email, office chats, voice calls and video calls. Get to know which channel is used for what kind of conversations within your team. Then understand each person's preference of channel and timing so that you can customize to get the best responses. Yes, absolutely. You want to customize channels. The work from home project that I worked on, we actually use Teams, and within Teams, I would make groups and rename them in order for me to identify who I'm speaking with. I had noticed that one of my colleagues noticed what I had named the team, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's so sweet, Kendra." And I'm like, "Well, yes, that's what I think of you guys. When I think of you, that's what I think of." So you definitely want to keep that in mind as you're working. So that way when you're addressing people differently, right? You have your main chat conversation versus the conversation you have with that small group. And then again, it's the different when you're talking to people, just that individual relationship. So even though you're not in person, you're still kind of having that personalized touch while working from home. Okay. And so I hope that you enjoyed this content today as we discussed 8 ways to impress your boss remotely. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking out to the end, and have a wonderful day. Hello, my name is Kendra, the official business renovator. Thank you for joining my channel today, and I hope that you enjoyed the content today. Feel free to like, comment, and share the video, as well as subscribe so that you can get notifications for when I release new content. Also, click the link in the bio for more products from me, as I recently released the book, The Great Promotion, and I discuss how I got promoted 4 times in 6 months and received a bonus while working from home.